Now you guys know how my Wednesdays usually go. Usually I watch The Good Show. I come talk to you guys about The Good Show, and then I go and I watch the other show. It's a nice, neat little Wednesday night routine, but I do follow Twitter, and I do sort of see what's going on the other show. And while I normally wouldn't talk about them on this review, I do think it's kind of remarkable, groundbreaking, and forbidden door opening even, that apparently Kenny Omega is the new WWE champion. So congrats, Kenny, you made it to the big time. Now, let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is your NXT review for February 17th, 2021, even though, for some reason, I wrote 2020 on my notes, because I'm special. I don't have any house cleaning this week. There's nothing really to plug. There wasn't any Flicks Fix done over the course of this weekend. Other things got in the way. Hopefully, Kristen and I are going to get you some good old WandaVision content out shortly. We are going to have to play catch-up, and we are going to have to review 3 episodes at once, which is going to be kind of fun. I should send a quick thank you to my NXT co-host, Jake DeMarco. We knocked out a pretty spectacular and really fun preview for the NXT Vengeance Day pay-per-view that happened this past Sunday. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, go show Jake some love over at Countdown Ended, and to Kristen, for all intents and purposes, at Black Half Feline Guapo, and I will be talking about AEW at some point. I'm sure there's a Shaq match to promote, isn't there? Yeah, anyways, go hit him up at guapo_504. And if you're watching me right now, the pretty sexy face of the Gimmick Hat, you want to find me in an audio platform, you want to go to Spaz Phoenix Podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. If you are listening to me in an audio platform right now and you don't see the pretty sexy face and you don't see the Gimmick Hat, you want to find me on YouTube, search Spaz Phoenix, search Spaz Phoenix and Spaz Phoenix 1 on Twitter, Spaz Phoenix on Instagram, and the Spaz Phoenix Podcast Facebook group on Facebook. Obviously, throw some comments down in the box below, because YouTube yells at me that I don't have any interaction, and we can get on with our day, can we not? It's kind of awesome when there's not a lot of house cleaning, isn't there? I will say, speaking of Vengeance Day, I will briefly touch on the fact that I caught the Impact pay-per-view on Sunday morning. I didn't catch it on Saturday night. It was a lot of fun. I don't even remember the name of it now. I keep wanting to say Hard to Kill, but it's not. It's No Surrender, isn't it? I will say, specifically, if you're going to check out anything from that pay-per-view, check out the X Division Triple Threat Revolver thing match, and big shout out to current Destiny World Champion, check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list, Josh Alexander, for being the inaugural winner of that inaugural match, and the match that he had with TJP this week on Impact, which I caught for the first time in forever, was also great. The show overall was a lot of fun. The main event was sort of a feel-good thing with Tommy Dreamer. The rest of it was fine. That chick that's a better version of Sasha Banks and her tag team, they did some good shit. That's cool. They really do suffer from not having an audience, and the piped-in audience, yeah, and yes, every show you watch is piping in crowd noise. I'm sure even AEW is piping in some crowd noise over their fans that are actually there, because, yeah, WWE are being the safe ones for once. But I will say, they are suffering from not having any live audience there. I believe, and maybe take this as a bit of hyperbole, seeing the little bit that I've seen from Impact, they would be really, really, really in the conversation if things weren't the way they are right now. And that's me being really vague and sort of giving them a backhanded compliment, but I do mean it, because there's a lot of, like, again, I say, just go back and check out all the people in that Revolver match, if nothing else, and they do have some good shit going on there. So I am going to be keeping more of an eye on that. I know the joke a couple years ago between myself and Kristen was, haha, Spaz paid for Bound for Glory, because, yeah, that was terrible. But let me know. Let me know down in the comment section below. Would you guys like me to preview Impact pay-per-views? Because then I will actually have to make a concerted effort to pay attention to what's going on there, as opposed to a passing effort. If there's a general interest, if there's a want for it, I will find somebody else that watches Impact, and we will preview some Impact shows. But Like I say, for what it's worth, for a 2 pay-per-view weekend, which is kind of nice, you know, takeovers are now on Sunday. I hope that continues going forward. Even AEW is moving their next pay-per-view to a Sunday as well. Leaves Impact wide open on a Saturday. That's a nice, neat little deal there. That's all good. Made for an awesome weekend for me, seeing as we're still locked down and there's fuck all else to do. Oh, yes. Now, if I haven't collected my thoughts well enough already, now that I totally had a brain fart there, let's get into this week's show. We start off, obviously, with highlights from Vengeance Day. And yes, I know WWE has only put on 2 pay-per-views so far this year, but this... how can I say this? I like the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is the Royal Rumble. It's always good. But, like, expectation versus reality didn't go in with very high expectations to Vengeance Day because they're still in the CWC and the crowd still is what it is. And the build was shaky on some stuff. So as far as surpassing expectation, Vengeance Day was better than the Royal Rumble. I expected good things from the Royal Rumble because it's the Royal Rumble. But Vengeance Day was really good. I think finally people got over the name because people got hung up on the name because that's what wrestling fans do. As they were showing highlights from the Vengeance Day pay-per-view, they did Twitter overlays. Now, obviously, they're only going to pick the tweets that were positive and all that sort of thing, and some of them are going to be from fans, and some of them are going to be, I think one was from Fight TV, and obviously Triple H had to get his 2 cents in there. But it was just nice to have a little bit of visual commentary, if that makes sense, as we're going through the highlights. Also, obviously, it caps off with the Undisputed Era split. Beth and Wade and the other guy whose name I can never remember that Joe Cronin always refers to as Nosferatu, so I will as well. They're starting off the show, and they get immediately interrupted by Kyle O'Reilly coming to the ring. Talks about the unexpected shot from Cole, talks about how he's been replaying the moment over and over again in his head. We were supposed to be different. The Undisputed Era was supposed to be different from any other group in wrestling. You ruined it for all of us. You're still my brother, and I'm going to give you a shot, and you can come down here and explain yourself. I need to know what Sunday was about. I'm still going to punch you in the face, but you can get your 2 cents in and let me know what that was about. Roderick Strong comes out instead, and I want to say this because this is a weird role for a wrestler to play, but he's trying to play the nice guy out of a group of 4 guys that have always kind of been dicks. So when he comes out there, like, earnestly pleading, trying to play the peacemaker, you know, we are special, and you know better than anybody what Adam is like. You know, his reaction on Sunday was just emotional, and Kyle O'Reilly just cut him off. He's like, I don't want you. You know, fuck the peacekeeping mission, although he didn't say fuck, obviously, because it's WWE. Don't get in this ring. I'm warning you right now, don't get in this ring. Get Adam Cole out here. And then BASZLER comes out and says, well, I'm looking for you, and you're looking for Cole. You need to get in line because I want to get my hands on Cole. We have unfinished business. Strong and Finn fight and argue and whatever up the rampway because, you know, nobody took Kyle seriously. Kyle's in the ring. Strong and BASZLER are fighting in the rampway because Strong's trying to play the peacekeeper with his boys, and Finn's just going to make it worse, rah. And they're sitting ducks for Dunn and Lorcan and Birch, who all brawl, which is wonderful. It was a little bit chaotic because if you're following Kyle O'Reilly wasn't even out there to, like, decimate anybody or get revenge or all that. He's just literally out there doing the Adam, what the fuck type thing, and he didn't get it, and he didn't get it when Strong came out, and he didn't get it when BASZLER came out, and he didn't get it when their all common enemies came out. It's just like you gotta picture he's in sort of fuck me, like, just get the guy I want out here. Anybody that's had a fight with a good friend gets that. It's like, you don't want anybody else's commentary on the whole thing. I've fought with friends. Believe it or not, I have friends, even though I'm a massive dick and everybody on social media will tell you I'm an asshole. I have had friends. I have fought with friends. You fight stronger. It's true in wrestling and it's true in real life. You fight harder with your friends than you do with your enemies. That's just a thing. So anybody else that's trying to calm it down or tell you, anybody that tells you, there's an expression that I love. Nobody, never in the history of calming down has anybody that has ever been told to calm down. And that works so well for wrestling. So Strong being out there to be the peacemaker is only going to make things worse. BASZLER trying to say that I want to get my hands on Colt before you do is only going to make things worse. So the frustrations are stacking for Kyle O'Reilly, which I think is really, it leaves you a lot of, I don't want to break it down into totally philosophical means, but it leaves a lot of narrative directions open, and that's what you need right after a pay-per-view. Coming back from the commercial break, we see Regal backstage, who replays a message from Santos Escobar, who's not happy about the match that Regal made with Cross. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home, and that's the end of the video. And Regal just says, well, next week, you're going to have that match with Cross, even though it's not a Cruiserweight Championship match. If you don't come for the match that we advertised this week, next week, you're going to be stripped of your title, and you're going to be suspended. And then he announces the obvious six-man match tonight, which is Strong and O'Reilly and Balor taking on Pete Dunne and the current tag team champions. How are they ever going to get along? Now, I'm thinking we're going to get that match next week, which is fine. And I want to see that match. If you go back for any reason, because the pay-per-view's over now, you don't really have any reason to check out a pay-per-view preview for a pay-per-view that's already happened. Jake and I did go into a bunch of detail about why I think that Santos Escobar versus Karrion Kross is a really important match for NXT, and I think it's important in a way that a lot of people are overlooking. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to figure out why, if you want to know why I think that, go back to the video. It's right at the beginning. It's fine. It's that little chunk where we talk about what's not happening on the pay-per-view, and then we talk about the pay-per-view. I'm going to cough. Moving on. The obvious six-man is obvious for tonight. Oh my god, how are they ever going to get along? The Undisputed Era are fighting each other. Balor's fighting all of them. The guys on the other side are all bound together by being dicks, which is great. Then we have the first match of the evening. The first match of the evening is the first in several instances tonight where I think they're just building the NXT Women's Tag Team Division. And gee, I wonder why they're building NXT's Women's Tag Team Division. It's The Way taking on Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, but first you see The Way come out, and The Way is missing somebody, because Austin Theory was chloroformed and kidnapped by Dexter Lumis on Sunday. And the response to this on social media is this weird, perverse melding of storyline and real life and people's weirdness on social media, isn't it? Because there's people that don't like Austin Theory because apparently he did stuff, even though there's no proof that he did stuff, but these are the same people that are going to defend Velveteen Dream, even though there is actual proof that Velveteen Dream did stuff. Those people who dislike the actual guy, isn't he like Austin Wright in real life, Austin Theory, whatever, they're getting their real life revenge on this guy that they assume did something wrong, because I guess he looks like a bad guy, by the fact that something bad happened to the character that he played on TV, and that's just weird. That's just really, really, really strange and weird. But anyways, Gargano and The Way play it up as only they can. The three of them come out looking all somber as hell, passing out missing persons posters for Austin Theory, and Gargano even joins the other three on commentary for the match. And as the match starts, LeRae and Shotzi start the match. There's a tag to Ember. There's a face wash by Shotzi in the corner. A beatdown on Candice's back. Super kick by Moon. Rolling vertical suplexes. A takedown by Shotzi and a corner spear by Indy. Takedown by Shotzi again and a drop kick by Moon. Shoulder tackles by LeRae. Indy stomps on everybody's legs, which is just frantic and random enough to be like, that would just hurt. Like, there's storytelling in a match, but then there's stuff that's just like, that would just fucking wreck, which I like. Not everything has to be nice and smooth and crisp. A botch here and there, depending on what it is, not you know, Sasha Banks costing somebody their career, but something coming off not particularly perfectly makes the match seem more real if you can do it properly. Cornerback elbow by LeRae, a cannonball high kick combination by Shotzi and Moon. Ember works on the arm. There's a figure four headlock over the ropes by Shotzi that was really nice, followed by a big boot by Indy and a grounded front face lock by LeRae. And then we go to the back. We go to the most dangerous place in all of wrestling, the PC parking lot. I was about to say the Full Sail parking lot, but they're not at Full Sail anymore. And a white van arrives. And when the white van arrives, I mean, clearly it's the white van from when Dexter Lumis took Cameron Grimes and they had their Halloween match. It was the only time I ever really liked Dexter Lumis. But just in general, ominous white van arrives, and there's a million jokes you can pull off the top of your head, and I'm going to take a pause right now for you guys to take your cheesy, obvious joke of choice and insert it here. In the ring, lariat by LeRae, some stomps, a back elbow by Indy, a corner back elbow by Indy, and a falling side slam. Short elbow drop by LeRae. Damn, I can speak, I swear. Double arm lock and a hair takedown by LeRae, forearms by Ember, an uppercut into the ropes by Indy, a crossbody to the floor by LeRae, and a second view of the van encourages Gargano to leave commentary. There's corner shots by Shotzi, I can never say that without stumbling. Running senton by LeRae, spinebuster by Indy. Gargano tries to get into the van on the outside. We're not doing a split screen. We're going from what's happening outside to what's happening in the ring. A super kick by LeRae, a jawbreaker by Shotzi, a modified GTS by Moon. Gargano returns on the rampway with Austin Theory, and it's a big celebration. Wade Barrett makes a very big deal about the fact that Austin Theory is in his underwear. The distraction gets the roll up for Ember Moon, which is sort of an anticlimactic finish, but it works for everybody. The goofy, dorky 4-on-2 heel team can celebrate that they got their prodigal son back, and probably the best tag team in the women's division of NXT can pick up another win over another prominent team. Everybody wins here. Ember and Shotzi, I know I've said before, I would love both of them to get singles pushes, but I'd almost rather they keep up with this team because they're having so much fun with it. And yes, I drill this into the floor all the time. Even if something's not good, and this is good, I've got a lot of room in my wrestling time for wrestlers that I can tell are having fun with their wrestling. And Ember and Shotzi with the gear and the entrance and all that kind of thing are having a lot of fun. And I'm having a lot of fun watching them. And they're facing The Way, who I also love. And nobody loses in this scenario. Absolutely nobody. We go to a pre-recorded video commentary from Pat McAfee from either his plane or his bus, I can't really tell which, and it's a long, rambling promo as only Pat McAfee can, basically telling all of us that he was right. He warned us that Adam Cole was a dickhead, and he's not wrong. So there's that. In the back, you see Kushida getting a hot compress on his neck and shoulder from his match with Gargano on Sunday. He has a conversation with Bronson Reed, who puts him over and tells him how great the match was on Sunday. You went 20 plus minutes with a former NXT champion like Johnny Gargano. That's really cool. Da-da-da-da. I just want to let you know, I want to tell you face to face that I also want a shot at Gargano, and if that means going through you, then I will. And then Malcolm Bivens comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for a competitor for Tyler Rust tonight. I'm going to go talk to William Regal. He doesn't even ask Kushida. He asks the doctor, hey, is Kushida cleared? He's like, cool. I'm going to go talk to Mr. Regal, and we're going to have a match between Tyler Rust and Kushida later on, which isn't bad either. Okay, what do I say about this? Because this was a fun match, but it's nothing we haven't seen before. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff, don't call him Leo Rush or you're a bad person, apparently. Leon Ruff had some good stuff in this match. This match was Isaiah Swerve Scott slapping Leon Ruff around for a while, and then Leon Ruff gets that wicked flipping crucifix bomb pin thing that he does for the win. The Cinderella story with Leon Ruff, I don't dislike him. It's fine. I'm sure there's a way you can fit him into the cruiserweight situation, but the Cinderella story with Leon Ruff is getting a bit tedious, and I hope they start booking him better so that I don't have to say that he's tedious, because the guy is talented as hell. But Swerve Scott turned heel, and sooner or later that heel turn has to mean something. It has to pull some dividends. Post-match, there's a beatdown by Swerve, and then he pulls off, in the post-match assault, what I think should be his new finisher. He basically does a running Death Valley driver into the turnbuckles, and it fucking wrecked. And that should be a finisher. I know he's got the house call kick, which is basically a jumping back mule kick thing. I don't know why I'm doing motions like I'm gonna do it, because I'm not athletic. You can probably guess that's why I'm here on the other end of a YouTube screen, and they are in the ring doing in-ring stuff. But if he takes that like I say, the only way I can describe it is a running Death Valley driver into the corner. That looks brutal, and it looks scattered, like I was talking about in the first match. It looks like you've done something wrong, and that adds tension to a match, even because if you can do that, nobody's going to have a problem with you winning a match with that. And if somebody eventually kicks out of that, then they only look all the better. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter taking on Aaliyah and Camilla. It was confirmed at some time on social media, I believe, just before Vengeance Day, that Jessie Camilla is officially part of the Robert Stone brand, so they are a tag team. Catanzaro and Carter are a tag team. Ember and Shotzi are a tag team. The ladies from The Way are a tag team. The winners of the Tag Team Dusty Classic are a tag team. It's like they have a tag. It's like they have two tag team divisions. It's fine. Imagine if other companies could actually book a women's division and not have half of the tournament imported on YouTube videos. Oh yes. Moving on. Anyways, Jessie and Casey start. There's a double hangman by Casey and Caden, a boot by Caden, and a head scissor by Casey. Boa shows up on the stage. This episode tonight, is going to drive a lot of people nuts, because a lot of this show is what's happening on the ramp versus what's happening in the ring. We saw it in the first women's tag team match, and it happens again here. Boa's on stage, lots of really spooky, ominous red light around him, whatever. Forearm by Jessie, a double team by the Robert Stone brand, headlock by Jessie, and a trip and a mud hole by Casey. Neckbreaker frog splash combination gets the win for Casey and Casey. Boa and Zaya come down to ringside. Catanzaro gets up in her face trying to doing the friendly thing like she did last week. Basically, the real you is inside there somewhere cliche. Thank you, CinemaSins. And she does what Boa and the old dude did to her. Like, she marks her hand with the black ash and said, she said, because it was muffled and it wasn't picked up on the camera very well, she said, either next week I'll hurt you or next week I'll purge you. I replayed it a couple of times. I don't know. I'm not sure. Either way, it's basically the same message. Catanzaro, much as I love her, much as this team is incredibly underutilized and should have gone farther in the Dusty Cup, as a singles competitor, as going into a singles match, I should say, as half of her tag team against Xia Li, who's being booked as a killer, yeah, she's gonna die next week. And the funny thing about that, or I should say the good thing about that, is she's probably the smallest person on the WWE roster, other than, that kid that held the tag team titles with Braun Strowman for 2 days. She's going to make Xia Li look great, and she's going to absolutely ragdoll for her. And we've seen all the American Ninja Warrior stuff that she does. I use it a lot. She's basically going to be Xia Li's Ziggler, but she's going to do it spectacularly. I don't know where that leaves Carter. Eventually, like I said, I want this to be the team of Casey and Casey taking on Xia Li and Tian Sha, but I don't know that we're getting there just yet. I think we'll get Xia Li versus Catanzaro, then we'll get Xia Li versus Carter, then we'll get maybe a 2-on-1 because Xia Li really wants to show off, and that'll be the match that she loses. Tian Sha steps in. Hey, next week there's a tag team match. That's a 4 or 5 week story you can stretch out if you want to, and you can have that one NXT for free. Moving on. Beth Phoenix is in the ring, and she's announcing basically the historical nature of the Dusty Cup, and she says a couple of quotes from Dusty Rhodes and all that. They throw to a quick video package, quickly recapping both MSK and Kai and Gonzalez going through the tournaments, plus their win last night. They get MSK out there. MSK cuts a great promo about how thankful they are and how they can't wait to be champions and all that sort of thing, and they announce that March 3rd, they're getting their shot at Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Now, spoiler alert, I don't think they're going to win. Because, actually, leave the because on the shelf, because then Kai and Gonzalez come out and they're bragging and they're the best women in WWE and all that sort of thing. And they're interrupted by BASZLER and JAX, who are dropping in from Raw. Now, so many mixed feelings about this, seeing the two of them show up on NXT. First of all, I don't want Nia Jax anywhere near NXT. That's for one. But the other side of the coin is Shayna Baszler has been so ruined on the main roster that it was awesome to see her back in NXT. They do some barbs back and forth, and they just start harping on, and they go on this really weird tangent about injuries, about how Shayna Baszler used to pick on Dakota Kai when she was a babyface. I even broke your arm at one point, which is true if you go back on that. But Dakota Kai's obviously standing up, being fearless, saying I'm not the woman you knew before. Things have changed around here in a while. And Raquel refers to Shayna Baszler as the one that dominated NXT, but then ran away when Rhea Ripley beat her. But hey, I'm the one that beat Rhea Ripley. So they're just doing this game of stacks. Like, if I can beat this person that beat this person that beat you, then I can beat you. And obviously, because it's a thing right now, they had to stick in a whole joke, and it gets confirmed later on because the promo gets kind of messy. They are also going to have their tag team title match on the 3rd, which is, I believe, 2 weeks from now. So, I don't think you get 2 sets of brand new champions in the same night, first of all. Second of all, I really, really, really want those titles in NXT. It's overdue. You guys know I've been hitting that nail on the head for a long, long, long time now. Now, you kind of... what I love is there's a pay-per-view coming up this Sunday. It's Elimination Chamber. Myself and Jake and Guapo may preview it tomorrow night. We may not. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to promise anything. But they are defending those tag team titles that night against the crackerjack team of Lana and her own Marty Jannetty, Naomi. Now, we're sort of forecasting that they're not going to win, obviously. I mean, Lana finding Naomi as a tag team partner in the middle of February is a decent shot. She's playing the odds there, but they're not going to win. And JAX and BASZLER are going to come back in 2 weeks and defend their titles, and they're going to bring those titles to NXT because, as I said tonight, it's been happening since the Dusty Classic, but especially tonight, featuring 2 tag team matches on the bounce that didn't even include the number 1 contenders. You are definitely setting the idea of NXT's women's tag team division in motion, and they'll save those titles like they saved the Cruiserweight title. I've said it before, I will say it again, but I will also say that MSK are going to lose to Lorcan and Birch. A, because I don't think you get 2 happy stories like that in the same night, but also Lorcan and Birch are going to destroy them. Pete Dunne's probably going to be in their corner unless like Finn Balor like takes them out, or Finn Balor like stands in their corner while the title match is happening, or something really weird like that. I don't think Balor and MSK work very well together. But what I will say, the whole comical nature of all of this is while these 4 women are staring each other down, and both members of MSK and Beth Phoenix are all sitting up on a turnbuckle with the popcorn watching them argue. And that was the best part of this entire segment. It all worked. It's good. I like MSK, and I really love Beth Phoenix. Is Beth Phoenix honestly not one of the most endearing aspects of current week-to-week NXT? I'm really glad she's not doing commentary by remote anymore, because that was always a bit noticeable, but whatever. We saw the Cameron Grimes music video that they played at the pay-per-view. If you saw the pay-per-view, you know what I'm talking about. It's fine. We then go to commentary where they talk about the fact that Io Shirai was attacked during a photo shoot, and then they illustrate that she was attacked during a photo shoot by showing the photos from the photo shoot. Now, this is a very different way of telling us something that happened earlier in the day, but also, it means the photographer is a dick, does it not? The person that he's photographing is getting the shit kicked out of her by Tony Storm, and he just keeps snapping pictures. And that's fine and wonderful. Kushida takes on Tyler Rust. It's not nearly as good a showing as I would want for either guy. Tyler Rust is great as a still semi-new guy on the NXT roster, but it wasn't quite the showing for Kushida that I would like to see after the great match that he had on Sunday. He locks in the hoverboard lock, and Bivens sort of freaks out on the outside yelling at the referee. Now, they say that Kushida won by submission, but I don't know whether that was Tyler Rust actually tapping out, or Bivens just saying, hey, my guy taps, because he talks to him after the fact. It's like, don't worry, I gotta protect my investment, you'll get him next time, and all that sort of thing. And if that's the case, then he's being presented as smarter than a lot of other managers. He's being presented as, like, actually protecting his charge, rather than just using him as a meal ticket. Remember when Sami Zayn was going to manage Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown? And it's fine, because Sami Zayn's a charismatic as hell guy. But he was using him. He was using him so that he could make money, be on the show, be associated with greatness without ever actually having to fight. Whereas Bivens is they're sort of presenting him like he's still a cocky heel manager, and he's managing a young guy that's already being sort of a cocky heel. But at least they're playing that story that even heels can stick together, even heels can have each other's back. And if he's genuinely, even if he's a dickhead to everybody else, if he's genuinely concerned for the well-being, like I say, of his charge, that's a cool little wrinkle to throw into a management program. Also, Bivens is charismatic as hell, and he's very amusing, and he keeps everybody's attention on Tyler Rust, because Tyler Rust, on his own, if you've seen him cut a promo, or if you've seen him in the back, I don't think he's quite there as far as that stuff goes. So I think it's a very winning combination. I do wish that they had had something a little more high profile for Kushida coming off the match on Sunday, but it is what it is. We see a video package from Zoe Stark, who's going to debut in a moment. And then we saw the debut on the pre-show of the pay-per-view of LA Knight, the former Eli Drake. And it's just him cutting the promo and telling off, who is it, Sam Roberts and Wade Barrett, and then they went back to his house, and basically he cut the typical, like, I'm here now, anybody that's got a title, anybody in NXT, you've been put on notice type thing. I vaguely, barely remember this guy, and I know a lot of people are excited about it, and I'm excited about him too. He's a good talker, at least. I remember him in Impact when I was watching it a little bit more. I don't remember enough to say, hey, I'm really excited, or hey, that's another body that's there. I do think it's kind of funny, though, that people are gunning at WWE about, oh, I bet they're going to fire a fuck ton more people, da-da-da-da, look at all the money they have. I'm not going to stick up for WWE because they don't need me to stick up for them. And yes, they do have a lot of money, but they're also signing a fuck ton of people. They signed Eli Drake, now LA Knight. They signed Taya Valkyrie. They signed Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade, Zoe Stark, who we're going to talk about in a second. They've got a new class coming in. So it's not like they're firing everybody and pocketing it. I don't even know who they've fired recently other than what the fuck's her name, Zelina Vega. And controversial as this may be, and as much as I feel bad for her, as much as I wish the situation was different, she did ultimately ask for it. Now, should she be in the situation where what she did was asking for it? No, obviously not. But she was in a situation where she did know that what she was doing was asking for it, so she asked for it. That's all I got there. But what was that? Like, other than Black Wednesday last year, when was the last time anybody got let go? I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I know Cutler got let go for whatever reason, and I'm kind of hoping that they put Blake and Murphy back together because they didn't put Murphy back with Rollins. And I mean, there's 2 tag divisions on NXT and no tag division on Raw or SmackDown, and only 1 tag division in AEW. Hey! Zoe Stark taking on Valentina. Who the fuck is Valentina? It doesn't matter. She's another body in the ring for a debuting star. This is the stuff that NXT does really well. Front slam, front face lock by Stark, and a corner tackle. She works the arm. There's a shotgun kick by Valentina. Knee strikes by Stark, a snake eyes, a super kick, a half and half release suplex that dropped her right on her head and shoulder. It was nice. Running sort of baseball slide style knee strike. And she gets her in this thing. It looks like she's going to do a pump handle slam, but I said flip knee strike thing because what she does, she gets her in the pump handle slam, except she doesn't pump handle her over the shoulder. She brings her up and down again, up into a knee strike. So it was a suplex into a go to sleep in midair. I don't know. It was good, and she seems really strong. She put in a really decent effort in the first round of the Mae Young Classic. Unfortunately, she was eliminated in the first round. I can't remember who she was teaming with because I'm an asshole. And it was on 205 Live. There's a whole bunch of weird... Like, 205 Live isn't a tag team show. It's not a women's show, per se. And if you're going to debut new NXT talent, you should be debuting them on NXT. They did the same thing with Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan as well. Now, they haven't found a story for them yet. They don't have an ongoing story yet. But you can't tell me that, hey, this is X person's NXT debut when it didn't happen on NXT. Now, there's rumors circulating around that we're going to be getting NXT Evolve soon, and that's going to be a whole other conversation soon. But this was short, sweet, to the point, impactful. Nice debut for Zoe Stark. I don't want to say I'm over the moon for it, because we don't have very much idea of character. She can go in there and she can kick your fucking head off. That's fine. We get a creepy as fuck promo from Cross and Scarlett. Scarlett does her typical, I don't know what you want to call it, voodoo tarot card type stuff, and then Karrion Kross is much more to the point. He's basically like, either you can show up next week for the match that we were supposed to have this week and I can destroy you, or you can not show up, get yourself suspended, lose your cruiserweight title that I don't care about, and I'll still find you, and I'll still destroy you, and I'll leave you where I find you. It's one of those, you can die or exile. It's the, what is it? It's Dark Knight Returns, isn't it? With Scarecrow doing the kangaroo court thing, is like death or exile. Well, the exile is going to kill you anyway. So what you're really saying is death or death. And getting that from a character like Karrion Kross really does work. It's his grounded promo sort of balances out Scarlett's spooky voodoo witchcraft tarot card type stuff. I don't mind that. You guys know I like the weird stuff anyway, but to have the weird stuff and have it still be grounded by the other half of the promo is really good. And I'm hoping it makes it a little bit more acceptable to the people that aren't like me and aren't so much into the weird stuff. There's not everybody out there that likes The Fiend and Alexa Bliss like I do. There's not everybody out there that likes Shotzi Blackheart's Tank like I do, and that's fine, but just don't tell me how silly they are if you like watching people have wrestling matches in orange juice. Moving on. Dunn, Lorcan, and Birch taking on O'Reilly, Strong, and Balor. How will they ever get along? Kyle and Lorcan start the match, trading shots, trading a lot of stiff shots. Everybody's pissed off in this match, which I kind of love. Body shots by Balor, knee drop by Kyle, elbow drop by Balor, grounded armbar by Balor. Strong works on Birch's arm. Balor attacks Strong's finger. Sorry, that should say Dunn. I'm an idiot. Dunn attacks Strong's fingers. Dropkick by Strong and some chops. Strong is tossed out of the ring. There's a double team by Lorcan and Birch on the outside while the referee's not looking. Boot by Dunn. Backbreaker by Strong. Crazy, crazy combos by Kyle O'Reilly, because that's what he does. Dunn strikes Kyle off the apron as we go into commercial break, and I don't bother paying attention to the picture-in-picture because the stream is shitty because we don't get a decent stream in Canada. Thank you, WWE. Dragon Stew by Kyle O'Reilly as we come back from the commercial break. Uppercuts by Birch and an ankle lock. A boot by Kyle, and everybody gets in the ring and then piles back out of the ring. We're left with Dunn and Balor, which was the main event from a couple of nights ago, which is really nice. Double boot and a sling blade by Balor. Shotgun dropkick by Balor into Dunn, and the ref Cole shows up on the outside, bicycle kicks Kyle O'Reilly on the outside of the ring, and then knocks the top off the steps and hits a brainbuster on Kyle O'Reilly on the exposed steps, which is not a great way to spend your Wednesday night. And then he fucks off up the ramp like, job done. Dust in his hands, dust in his shoulders, it's all good. Balor Pele's Strong by accident as Strong tries to get his title belt out of the ring. In the kerfuffle, and yes, I said kerfuffle, Dunn hits the bitter end on the champion and gets the win. So, for one thing, pretty sure Dunn's going to get another shot at that championship. For another thing, Pele on Strong increases, hostilities between Strong and Balor. The wicked brainbuster on the steps for Adam Cole takes out any option or any hope of Roderick Strong playing Peacemaker between these two anymore. And then, because we haven't had enough yet, and because there's not enough narrative strings to pull out already, Cole returns on the opposite side of the ring, super kicks Balor, takes him out, looks at that golden belt that he hasn't held in a while, holds it up to end the show. Really good. Just really good. Now, there's going to be an O'Reilly-Cole match, which is fine. There's probably going to be a Strong Balor match, which doesn't hurt my feelings. Pete Dunne, by pinning the champion, stays in the title hunt. Adam Cole, is he on his own? Is he still with Strong? What's Bobby Fish got to say about the whole thing? I know he's out right now, but whatever. I'm not one to advocate NXT just having a really big pile of people type match. I'm really not one to advocate for them pulling mainstream WWE stipulations into a... why can't I think? Why are the words not coming to me? I'm not one for them to pull in main roster stipulations onto an NXT show because they have their own stipulations. They do the Gauntlet Eliminator, they do War Games, they do their own thing. But, I mean, Cole, Dunn, Balor, O'Reilly, I mean, Cross will be in there eventually, and throw Strong in there for the hell of it. You have the actual decent bedrock of a NXT Elimination Chamber match right there. Now, I'm not saying put it on next Sunday's show. I'm definitely not saying that. But in the future, it could happen. Now, you know what's definitely happening in the future? Next week, we got Casey Catanzaro taking on Xia Li and getting destroyed. We've got Santos Escobar taking on Karrion Kross and probably getting destroyed. 2 weeks from now, we bring the women's tag team titles to NXT, and MSK try but heart-wrenchingly fail against Lorcan and Birch. 2 weeks from now, there's something else going on another show. It doesn't have anything to do with tag team wrestling, though. It's some big guy. I don't know. It can't be that relevant. Some guy looks like Goldust got left in the dryer too long, taking on some other. I don't really know. I mean, it's not happening on NXT, so fuck it. But remember, above all other things that we learned tonight, this particular Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, even though it says 2020 on my notes, Kenny Omega is the WWE champion. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, time it out.